I think as we shape and evolve, what our perception of what the best is also changes as well.
Yeah, of course.
Same as our goals.
Yep.
And I think that's the beauty of this industry too.
Yep.
So apart from just keeping up, and that can be a burden and also a blessing, I think it's the factor that you can also be a chameleon through it too. I grew up a lot with the red skirt mentality of getting shit done, but as well as the aesthetic and storytelling became such a huge component of that chapter. I think experience of reaching that ceiling is so important because then you can really determine the boundary physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and what values come from that. Because once you reach that boundary, it's like, okay, I'm done. I'm just gonna say some stuff out there, message some people, and just have no shame. The less shame I had, I was like, the more opportunity I could create.
Totally.
Because if you do not ask, you will not have an answer. It's okay to also not be okay, but it's also okay to just put a boundary.
Yes.
And that's why I'm coming back.
Yeah, when you're ready, right?
When I'm ready.
Yeah.
100%, and I'm ready.
In today's episode, I sit down with Vienna Marie. She's a Sydney-based creative who's done it all. She's a photographer, videographer, graphic designer, Sony Digital Imaging Advocate, and the mentor who helped kickstart my creative journey. She has over 10 plus years experience in the industry, and today we dive into her story, her experiences as a mentor, and the lessons that she's learned guiding the next generation of creatives, as well as the partnerships that she's had working with brands such as Sony. There are so many lessons that I've taken away from Vienna over the years that I've implemented into my career, and I'm really grateful that she's taken the time to come onto the pod today, and I really hope that the lessons that she shares in this episode are just as helpful to you as they have been to me. So let's get into it. I'm so excited to have you on, only because I've known you for so long and you were my mentor.
Yeah, it's a nice full circle
moment.
moment.
It's a very full circle moment. And you also just have like this ridiculously long, high achieving career. You've done a lot. Because how long have you done this for now? It's over 10 years.
Over 10 years now.
Over 10 years. Photography, videography, started out graphic design. Yeah, you know a lot. You've very well traveled for work around the country. International. You went to Vegas last year. You went to Vegas. Finland.
Yes.
Philippines, New Zealand. Yeah, I've been following you for a long time.
Yes.
You've been running workshops forever. Like not just your own workshops. You've been doing them at unis.
Yes.
Fashion college.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you know a lot.
I've been following you for you were my mentor. I should know all this.
The research is researching.
You've done a lot. And obviously Sony Advocate.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of anyone more perfect for that sort of role.
Thank you.
Like running work, like literally everything you were doing before becoming a Sony Advocate, running workshops, bringing creatives together, teaching people. It's literally what you do. It's like you couldn't think of a better person.
Oh, thank you.
To do that. So I was like, sometimes you look at things, you're like, that's so fitting. Like that person belongs in that role.
My heart.
It's true. And obviously your mentorship, like you've been running your mentorship since, 5 years ago when I first...
Wow, when you first started. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's been a long time. And you're still running the mentorship program. So you're trying to bring it back up.
Trying to bring it back up, but even a better version. So an elevated version from that. So I want to make sure that all the kinks from previous years... I'm a perfectionist. You know
Which
this.
is fair,
Which is fair. Every creative is a perfectionist. But it's also that thing I taught you where I'm just like, just do it.
Yep.
You can knuckle out the kinks as you go.
Yes.
But I think now that I've entered into my 30s, I think I'm like, I've got a bit more time to really raise the bar and to make sure that it's genuine.
Yeah,
whatever I release. It's because people can release things just on the go as fast paced as they want to, but I want to make sure that it's done in a way where it's like, okay, this is quality.
Yeah, true.
And it's what would future Vienna be really proud of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be hard. I've never looked into like creating courses or any sort of mentorship, but I feel like when you've got as much experience as you have and you know all that, it's like, how do you package that well? Because, it can be like all over the place. But, yeah, no, I get it. It makes sense. Just thinking about it, I'm like, it'd be so hard to do.
Yeah, I think for me, my way of looking at a mentorship, and this is probably giving a bit of a preview as to what I want to release, is done in two sort of ways. And I think we did this when you entered into the mentorship. One is through a container and one is more personalized, because every person comes into the mentality of being like, are we elevating our brand together? Do they work better in a group, being accountable through other members, or is it more personal experience, which is what I did with you? I catered to whatever you needed, and I would be there, online, always touching base and everything. So it's a very different experience, and every creative is different.
Yeah.
Every business is different.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that whatever people need, it has to be a two-way street. There has to be value on both ends. It's not transactional. I hate that. I hate transactional. I'm like, no, because energy doesn't lie.
It's very true. It's very true. And people learn in different ways too.
Yeah.
Like not everyone learns the same way.
100%.
I loved the one-on-one, like the personalized way that we did it, only because it's like I felt like someone was listening to like my problems.
I'm a therapist.
The amount of times we'd have a call and I'm like, I'd have all these. When you're in a group, it's like, it's cool because you can learn a lot. But I'm like, but I have my specific problems that I want someone to address.
Yes.
And because I didn't know how to do it. At the beginning, I was just trying to figure everything out on my own. And I was like, I remember getting on calls. I'm like, this happened and I don't know what to charge this client, and this client said this, and I just had my problems that were happening at that time.
Yes.
And you were able to help me like unpack it all and just give me a better perspective, a more experienced perspective. So to me, I was like, that was worth all of it on its own. Just having someone listen to your own problems and give you a better perspective and a proper professional way of dealing with things other than just freaking out.
I would say as well, it wasn't just problems that we were looking into, but it was also the fact of just problem solving.
Yeah.
But actually setting boundaries. How do you want to elevate yourself as a creative, as an entrepreneur? Because it's one thing to bounce off someone else, but it's also another thing to, just apart from giving direction to someone, for them to actually seek the answer themselves and solve it themselves, because otherwise it becomes a sense of, I guess, yes, teacher-student relationship, but we also want to end the program on equal side. So you have growth and reached a level where you're like, okay, I can do things on my own now. So
yeah, that's true, because you do want to be able to get to that stage, but I think that takes time.
It takes a bit of time, but also there's enough time to go with your own pace too.
Yeah, cool. Now, I kind of want to go to like not the beginning of your career, but more so like you've achieved everything that we kind of spoke of, plus a ton more. I'm sure there's like so much that I've missed. But when you first started out, if you look now at your career, like all the things you've done, everything you've achieved, all the like everything you've done, like on day one, is this kind of what you set out to do? Like when you first started out, would you have believed that this is where you would have ended up today? It's more so like, was it planned? Or, because for me, it's like where I am now, I could say parts of it were planned, but most of it was just like me trying to take the next right step.
Yeah.
So like out of everything you've got now, like how much of it was planned from when you started? And how much of it was that, like, I'm just going to figure it out and take the best opportunity I can moving forward?
To be honest, I don't think it was never planned.
Yeah.
It was, all of it was just kind of fluke. And I think that's okay to say, because a lot of people in today's generation, they always want to preempt the next step. For me, thankfully, past me was just really gutsy, really social, and would just do whatever she could to network. Back in the day, the realm of YouTube was just starting off. And I always felt really confident in front of the camera and also behind the camera. So what you see is what you get. I think for myself, first starting off, I wanted to be, again, in that beginning realm of YouTube, I wanted to be a YouTuber. I was like, I am ready for this. And fun fact, I was part of a YouTube group. Back in the day. We've got over 100,000 views on each video. It's called Project Town. Look that up.
I will.
It is so funny.
Wow. How long ago was that?
2014.
Wow.
2013.
Over 10 years ago.
Yeah, over 10 years ago. Gosh,
wow.
It's a very interesting place to be. We wanted to be, there was a group of 4 of us, 3 guys, myself, and we were aiming to be the next Wong Fu Productions. And the realm of creativity and YouTubers weren't as strong as it was in America back then. Here in Australia, thankfully, we had the era of My Chonny. We had the era of like all these other YouTubers up and coming. Natalie Tran, Community Channel. And I was like, I want to be that representation of Asians and, let's go for it.
Yeah.
Obviously, life doesn't really pan out that way. So, as you said, I studied graphic design. I don't think I ever wanted to be a graphic designer. I was like, I like pretty things.
Yeah.
I made it into that degree, so I'll go with it. But thankfully, that degree forced you to dabble into different norms of creativity and visual communications. Photography was one of them. And I just liked to make things pretty. As I said, photography fell into my lap. It was part of our degree to do an internship. I was doing a graphic design internship, and all of a sudden they were like, oh, you do photos? Take a photo. Looking back, oh my gosh, I have to find them, but it was really bad photos. The grain on it was there, made it black and white. I was like,
when you give up, I'm just gonna make it
black and white, and I'm like, oh my god, like, oh, it's so bad. And then it just fell into my lap from there. Video was also on the up and coming. I remember the stats back then in 2013, 2011, it was just like, oh, video will be 70% of the marketing assets that you see in businesses thrive in 2020. So, which did come true, and I was like, I should be a part of that. So that kind of came through too. And then started to join an agency, which is Red Scope Films.
Very cool.
And they were a really big part of my creative journey. They took me under their wing. I was head photographer, general manager of that business for a long time. And then there came a point where I was like, I think I've learned whatever I needed to learn from this, and it's time to rally on my own. And I never looked back. And that was, again, a fluke. Just jump into the deep end and hope for the best. But I think what really was the turning point was knowing that I built a network that as soon as I did a call out or just asked people, no shame, to be like, hey, I'm willing to give you these services and everything. It became an exchange of services, but also an exchange of energy and an exchange of content. So I don't know. I think I can't pinpoint the turning point or the best part of my career. I think as we shape and evolve, what our perception of what the best is also changes as well.
Of course.
Same as our goals. And I think that's the beauty of this industry too. So apart from just keeping up, and that can be a burden and also a blessing, I think it's the factor that you can also be a chameleon through it too.
Yeah, totally.
That was a lot.
No, that's all right. That's great. It's really, really good. I guess it's hard to set, especially at the very beginning, because you don't really know where you're going to head. It's hard to have clarity because there's so much you could do. You started off in graphic design, but then you end up in photography and video. So to set goals, especially big goals at the beginning, is very hard because you're trying to just figure out what you enjoy.
I will say on that, I remember in 2014, 2015, I had a goal in mind, was to be the best female videographer in Australia.
Awesome.
Obviously, that did not come true. But I was
But it gives you direction.
Gives you direction. And I remember at the time, I was like, there's so many males in this industry. I'm going to be the one that's the best female. And it's just interesting how the landscape evolves and your goals change. And one of my friends, Dave Katag, he was I think he was part of a group or business, which basically gave the baseline of same-day edits for weddings. So he was part of that change in Australia.
For weddings?
For weddings.
Damn.
That's where it started. And I remember being in awe of his work. He's an amazing creative person today. Even he does a lot of AI. And I remember mentioning to him, he's like, what's your goal? I was like, to be the best female videographer in Australia.
That one's easy.
And he gave me my first monopod.
Oh, wow.
And everything. This is probably the second time I met him. He's like, here, I have something to drop off to you.
Oh, damn.
Here's your first monopod to make it happen. I don't know where that monopod is now. But that's when monopods were the biggest craze and everything. So that was my goal. And obviously that's changed throughout the years. And my goal now is just to be happy and content.
It changes, right? It totally changes with experience.
100%.
Wow. And then, so when you first started out, when did Red Scope become an idea?
I think I was still in uni. So fun fact as well, I was part of a dance crew, a standard Filipino.
Yes.
Got dance. I was part of a dance crew, and funnily enough, Adam and Ben, who are the founders of Red Scope, were the ones videoing the dance video in Cockatoo Island.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure we needed a permit, but doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like guerrilla filmmaking. And I saw that they were doing video, and that was the first time I saw a gimbal. And I was like, wow, I like that.
I want that.
I want that. That looks hard. I want to try it. And then they were like, oh, you're a female. You want to be a videographer. We'll take you under our wing and we'll dedicate our time for you to learn.
Wow.
And I remember just assisting them and then second shooting for them and being at conferences, at dance videos and everything like that. And it was such a jarring experience because I would be so scared to solo shoot. But as time goes on, you have to learn and step out.
Yep.
But you also get to sponge a lot of experiences and the way people shoot. So I grew up a lot with the Red Scope mentality of getting shit done, but as well as the aesthetic and storytelling became such a huge component of that chapter. So
their work is amazing.
Yeah,
it's
they're
incredible.
lovely. I can never not mention them because I owe them a lot to what my growth has become. Yeah.
But I think that's a really important step in like what you've done. Like you can, when you put yourself in the right environment, you put yourself around the right people, you can learn so much and it accelerates your growth.
Oh, 100%. And I'm not going to say that it was the easiest thing to go through because I want to actually quickly touch upon this because I really believe in it. One, came from an Asian family. Two, I'm a female. Three, the creative industry isn't financially stable in the beginning of your career, which was very horrifying to my parents back in the day.
If you were a parent, you'd be like,
they're
probably
just
not
like,
the safest.
No, they were just like,
path.
oh, she's gallivanting again, like in true Filipino form. They're like, you keep gallivanting out with your camera with these two guys late at night. Like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm making my dreams come true. And back then when I lived under my parents' roof, they were like, 12 o'clock curfew. Like, they don't care. You have a gig. You got to come home. And I remember I didn't drive back then. So Adam and Ben would have to drive me back home. I'm like, I know we're shooting, but your girl needs to get home. Don't worry about the client. You know? So,
no, guys, she's got to go home.
I got to go home.
Parents are waiting.
Like, my parents are waiting. I'll edit. Like, let's find a big common ground, which is something that a lot of people don't realize, you know, as well, that when you're in this industry, when you come from certain cultures, it's not common. It's not a common thing. Thankfully, in today's, landscape, there's a bit more support on that they can see that photography, video, they're the marketing assets to what you see when you doom scroll and everything. UGC content, e-commerce images. Without them, would they have a business? No. People are visual.
Exactly.
So we're such a big tool in that cog. But I feel very thankful that nowadays it's such a respected profession. I just wish I had that when
I can
when
imagine.
I was younger. It's like,
it does make it so much harder.
Oh, 100%.
It
makes it so much harder, but it was so worth it. All the trials and everything of it all. So,
But it is, when you do have the support of like the people around you, it does help. I'm finding that out now. Even just with it, like for you, with your parents, for me, it's like having a girl, like a partner.
Oh, 100%.
Right? Having the support of someone that just like is in your corner, it helps so much. As opposed to like not having that. Because for the longest time, I just felt alone.
I know. You were just like, this is it. I was the same, remember? Like before I got into a relationship. I was like, it's just going to be me, myself, and I, and my camera, and my dog. Like, that's it. That's all I need. And my other creative friends that are also staying up late at night. And we're all chatting on Red Bull and getting through our edits. Like, that was the norm. But now, not saying that you just need a relationship to balance you out in your career. No. But it does help.
Yeah, you don't realize how much it helps until you actually have it.
Oh, 100%.
Those people around you.
100%. Like, I'm lucky now that my fiance.
Hey, we're going to have a few of those.
My fiance. He balanced me out so much in the beginning. He's like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? He's like, you need to clock off. Like, I was so used to being like, grind, stay up late at night.
Yep.
Like, I would post and being like, here's the hustle train. I'm a boss ass bitch. Like, let's go.
I know.
But now everyone's like, oh, TLC, R&R, like, let's relax, self-care, Pilates, you know?
Yeah.
Soft girl era, like, and I love that. It just, I'm glad it's transforming into that now.
True. I think they both have their place.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, because I'm the same now. I feel like compared to when I first started, I was the same. I was like, I'm just going to outwork everyone.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, and I think it's because it's all like kind of new. I was like, when I first picked up a camera, I was like, I know I want to use this and make like a full-time income out of that. Was my first goal. I was like, I just want to make full-time money.
Yes, that's right.
That's all I want. When I first spoke to you, that was the only goal. I was like, I want to use this and have a living from using this. And all I knew was that like I can work hard. I knew nothing else.
Yes.
So I was like, this is my only advantage, I guess, or the only thing I've got is just I can like work. I don't have a girlfriend. I'm living by myself in a one-bedroom apartment. Right. I can work all day. I can wake up and work until I go to sleep.
Yes.
And obviously, I don't think that's healthy now.
No.
But it did help me at the time. And 100%. I think if you're just starting out, having that sort of work ethic can create opportunities for you. And it has for you as well. I've seen you work really, really hard, and you don't shy away from hard work. Yeah. And I think that's a good trait. But I think that hard work can only take you so far.
100%.
You know, because what 100%. I realized, I was working 7 days, every minute of every day, but then you kind of get to this point where you realize, like, I can't work anymore. And I'm in a position now where I have to do this forever.
Yes.
You know, and I can't pull back. And that feels overwhelming and stressful. And you're like, shit, this has a ceiling. And I need to learn how to work smarter and take care of myself first. All these things are really, really important, but I didn't see it at the time.
100%.
So I think it depends on where you are in your career. When you're starting out, it's great to hustle and get your name out there and do all the hard things, but you do have to keep in mind other things. What I think the main point that I'm trying to get to here is like there are sacrifices that you need to make in order to achieve the goals and, you know, the dream career that you want. But what I found to be more important was understanding and becoming aware of the things that I don't want to sacrifice.
Okay.
The things that because once you start losing those things, you can achieve the goal but still be unhappy. Yes. Right? So I realized that I'm not willing to sacrifice my health. I'm not willing to sacrifice relationships. Mm-hmm. When those things get taken away from me, I may achieve the goal, but I've lost things that make me happy.
Yes.
And that's when 100%. You feel stressed and overwhelmed and you feel confused and lost because you're like, I got what I wanted. I wrote this down as a goal and now I have it. Now I'm not happy. Why? This doesn't connect in my mind. And it's because I gave up the things that I at the time was unaware of, but I was like, there are things that I should not be willing to sacrifice. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, 100%. And I think I will touch base on two things that kind of chimed into my mind when you were saying that. One, I think experience of reaching that ceiling is so important because then you can really determine the boundary physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and what values come from that. Because once you reach that boundary, it's like, okay, I'm done. Mm-hmm. This is my limit. And if burnout becomes the norm, then you're in trouble. And I will touch upon that, quickly segue from that. I think it was 7 years into my career, I reached a really, really bad burnout. Mentally, I had to like step back for 3-4 months. Yeah. And this was my time through probably a big pinnacle client that we had. And I was like, I'm done. I'm done. Yep. Like, I cannot work and everything. Had to go back to see my therapist. Shout out to therapy. It's so important. And even go back on medication, like medication in terms of releasing those endorphins and everything, because your body is working overtime. Like when you're stressed, your body reacts and it holds on to that trauma, holds on to that stress. So when you are anxious, it has to mimic that same stress to be like, oh, now you're in trouble. And that's a fault that a lot of us creatives don't realize until we get to that limit. And, you know, you hear it from certain people where they're just mentally like,
Yeah.
I cannot keep going. Second thing I'm going to quickly touch upon as well is I think we did this exercise when I was teaching you. It was like the 5 pillars. The 5 pillars are what values do you want to actually invest into?
Yep.
What do you want to take out of your experiences before you reach that ceiling of investing? So is it, I think we touched upon it where it was like, is it relationships, your health, yourself,
Yep.
Your money, and I think there was one more. I can't remember at the top of my head. But if we pivot to yourself, what gives you self-care? What helps fill up your cup?
Yes.
Hence why when I was talking to you before we jumped onto this podcast, I was like, oh my gosh, I believe in investing back in yourself. Either that being, for me personally, lighting a candle is such a big thing, or like feeling like smelling something to make me be like, oh, it's work time. Or putting on lo-fi music. That's self-care for me. Having a hot shower,
Yep.
self-care. Like that is such a vital thing for you to have, so you can recharge, rejuvenate, and then present yourself before reaching that ceiling.
Yes.
So,
I agree.
yeah.
Very important.
Very important.
I don't think you realize the importance of it. Like I never did at the beginning. I was like, what? If I'm doing something else, I should be working. Every time. If I was like sitting down watching Netflix, I'm like, I should be working right now.
Yeah.
This is time that could be spent. But it's what leads to burnout and leads to you feeling super stressed out. And what I think a big thing is in that is like you said, like setting boundaries is something like I'm still learning how to do it, man. But I completely understand. Like for me, it's like going, I work at a gym most of the time, but going to the gym and working out, I'm like, cool, I've done something for myself.
Yes.
Trying to take like Sundays off and just doing things where completely unwork related.
I'm the same.
Yeah, really important.
Yep.
It sounds counterproductive, but the more I do it, the more I feel better while I'm at work.
Yes.
And then having like a certain time where like beyond this time, I'm not working anymore.
Yep.
Each day.
5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Clock off.
Yeah, exactly. Or I think everyone should have like their own times. I think some people, some people say, especially working in the gym environment, people say, you got to start your day at 5 a.m. And I'm like, some people are the opposite. I'm not that guy.
I'm not that type of person.
And I think it goes back to what you're saying about mentorship. Some people work really well at 5 a.m. and like good for them.
Yeah.
Like that, they should do that. But
Kudos.
it's not for everyone.
No.
Some people work better at night.
No.
Yeah. I feel like I'm still trialing different work schedules. I'm doing that at the moment. I was telling David that. But I'm trying to work until 7 p.m. Like start a little later, finish a little later, because that period from like 4 to 7, I don't get bothered by people.
Yep.
Especially when it comes to like, I edit a lot. So when you're editing, what takes your workflow, what takes you out of your workflow is like messages, emails, phone calls.
Yeah.
But from like 4 to 7 or, anything outside of 9 to 5, I'm like, no one's calling me, no one's messaging me.
Yes.
And I'm way more productive. So for me, I like that.
Yeah.
But again, it can't be for everyone. So it's like understanding what works for me so I'm more productive.
Yeah.
But then also outside of the work hours, it's like, what am I doing to help fill up my cup so that when I do come back, I'm staying productive?
I think it's interesting. Oh, someone's trying to call me. How silly.
How silly.
How do they?
How silly.
They're rude. Like it's like a big opportunity.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm like, oh, hello.
You just hung up on
Sony,
Sony, man.
I'm like, this is a life-changing call. Can wait. First, same like that. Boundaries.
Exactly. Yeah, man.
Yeah. Well, like, I think you also have to shift mindset that even when you are taking time off, it's not counterproductive. It's an investment to yourself and your mind. And that's a lot of mindset work that people need to realize. Even if you're watching Netflix, and again, I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this on other podcasts and other things. It's just a fun fact. I'm a very big extremes person. That I'm still trying to figure out balance.
Yep.
Like, am I either really, really lazy or I'm super hyper productive?
Yep.
And that's a battle I've always had to have.
Yes.
I'm a typical Scorpio, if you want to get a bit weird. But, and I've always found the trouble to balance that. But I think now entering into my 30s, I understand that balance. Still have a bit of trouble here and there. But if you've got to listen to your body. If your body and your mind is just like, I can't, trust it.
Yep.
Because your body is a muscle. Your brain is a muscle.
Yep.
And if it's telling you that it's like, I'm actually really tired and stressed, take a step back.
Yes. This is important. I think even when it comes to, if you're trying to build out a career and you're trying to get opportunities, we spoke about this before we started, like you're big on energy.
Yes.
Right? I totally agree. I think your energy is important. People feel your energy, and you can attract people and opportunities based on the energy that you give out.
Yes.
I also think that you have to become a certain type of person. Like, people are attracted to other types of people. And if I want to attract high-paying clients, or even just bigger clients that respect me and respect my work, I have to become the type of person that attracts that type of person.
Yes.
Because even you or me, like there are people I want to work with them, but there are also other people, for whatever reason, I just don't want to hang out with them.
Yes. Yes.
You know, and I could be that for someone else, you know, and it's like, who do I have to become in order to attract those people, those higher people, right? And if I don't become that person, if I'm not aware of those things, I'm not going to attract those people.
Yeah.
If I don't bring that energy, I'm not going to attract those people. And a lot of it comes down to what you do when you're not working.
Yep.
Like if you're stressed, if you're overworked, if you're not looking after yourself, you're not looking after your health, your physical health, your mental health, how are you expected to show up with good energy? You're exhausted, you feel like shit, you're stressed, you're overthinking, and then you're trying to pitch something to a big time client. They're going to be like,
100%.
this person's not even present.
Yes.
You know, and
Yes.
you think you're doing the right thing by working all the time, but you're not attracting the right people, because they're like, this dude is super stressed out, shit energy, he's not even here. And then you wonder why you're not getting the opportunities you want.
I have a quick question for you then.
Yeah.
What's your ideal, or what's your perception of a high paying client?
It's not even a high paying client. It's like, I feel, what I've found out over time is like, there are some clients that we just have a really good relationship.
Yes.
And I'm like, I can work with this person all the time. Like, we both just get each other.
Okay.
And then there are other clients, which is totally fine. There's nothing wrong. Like, no one's in the wrong, but you can't work well together.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're very hard to work with. And maybe I'm hard to work with for some other clients as well. Like, you really need to find solid relationships. And I don't know what you'd call this. Then it's got nothing to do with the. Oh, it probably has something to do with the money, but for the like, there are times where I'm like, I don't care how much you pay me, I can't work with you, because you are just you're taking up all my energy, and I hate not hate. I just feel terrible doing this work. It doesn't fulfill me in any way, and you got to let go of those. So it's like, how do I attract those clients where I just love showing up. I love working for this person. We get it. We both work well together. It's finding those people, because they're the ones that respect your work. They're the ones that are going to pay you the most anyway, because they value what you bring.
Bingo.
You know, and
it's the value.
Yeah. So it's like finding more of those clients is kind of like my goal. You want to be able to show up and be excited to work with the people that you're working with. So, but that comes to energy. Like, if you bring terrible energy, you're not going to find those people, because they're not going to want to work with you.
100%.
You know, and but it's learning that when you have balance and you do look after yourself outside of work, you show up to work better, you know? And I know there are days I turn up and I'm like so stressed out, I'm in the worst mood. I'm like, no one's going to want to hang out with me today.
No, but you turned up.
That's true too.
See?
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, you've got to work through it. But
wins.
But you need the self-awareness to know, I need to work on this.
Yes.
And I think that's obviously where mentors come in, because a lot of the times it's hard to do that self-reflection work on your own. Mm-hmm. I tried to do more of, like, I'm a writer. I write everything down.
Oh, same.
And I really tried to be aware of when I have a bad day, or even when I have a good day, both, right? When I have a really, really bad day, I'm like, how did this get so bad? Why do I feel so bad right now? And then when I have a good day, I'm like, why do I feel so good? What did I do? How can I repeat this? And sometimes it's weird. I'm just like, I just feel good for no reason. Today was a great day.
Huge.
And I'll look back and I'll try and be like, pinpoint, what did I do? What was so good about today? How can I have more of these days?
That's so you, though.
Yeah, I know. I overthink everything. But I think it helps. I think self-awareness when it comes to this sort of thing is so important. And it's, for me, writing is, I write things down because I feel bad talking to someone about it. Like, I talk to the girlfriend about it, but you don't want to always. I have these thoughts all the time,
Yeah,
every
I know.
day. So
I know
you don't
do.
really want to. And I think having a mentor was great because I could talk these things out.
Yeah.
As opposed to just writing them down. And it helps you become more aware, especially when it comes from someone else. Okay, cool, man. Like, I do need to fix that. I need to fix this. This is going to make more sense. I'm stressed out because I don't know how to deal with this client. And these things are important.
They're so important, 100%. I think as well, to help with that is knowing the capacity. I remember thinking of this journal. It sounds like I'm really into self-help. Like,
yeah, which is fine.
Which is fine.
Yep.
But when I really look at it, I'm like, I'm not doodling away and I'm like, excellent day. Like, like thumbs up for me.
Yeah.
I love her. Yeah.
Just...
I wish. And I'm probably promoting that of myself right now. I'm like, no, I just want to be real. I'm not like that. I'm probably the most like chill, lazy person. Like, I have a set place on the couch that is mine. That I'm like, this is my lazy corner. I'll nap. I'll sleep.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just segued away from that. Anyway,
no, that's cool.
Like, everyone's like, okay, take away. She's a couch potato. So I think having that capacity to know that asking other people, like your girlfriend, even with my fiance and other people, I'm like, do you have the capacity to hear what I need to vent about? Or I'm open to hear your pieces of advice. I'm not asking you to change the world for me, but what are your thoughts on this? And it's never an easy task to really realize where it went wrong or what you need to help evolve yourself. But it's that experience of self-awareness. I'm very aware of my flaws.
Yep.
And I hate it because my fiance is probably way more like observant before I am. But I think, again, that just comes to the experience that you have in that self-awareness. Yeah.
Yep. This is good because it comes down to self-awareness, but something that I noticed, especially through your content and the year that you had last year, a lot of good things happened to you.
Great things.
Amazing things.
Oh my gosh.
And at the beginning of last year, you journaled or you wrote down goals.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
I
you posted
did.
about it. I know because you posted you put
Okay.
journaling and manifesting and you even you posted about it at the beginning of the year. You also posted about it at the end of the year, realizing that a lot of what you wrote down at the beginning of the year came true.
Yes.
Right? And in one of your posts, you wrote, when you operate from a place of clarity and alignment, the universe opens doors you didn't know existed.
Yep.
Right? And I'm very big on having direction and clarity.
Yeah.
Because of everything that I just spoke about, I have all these thoughts and I'm always overthinking and I'm trying to become more self-aware. It's because I realize when there's direction and there's clarity, all those things become easier. Like you know what opportunities to take, you know what opportunities not to take because you have clear and direct goals.
Yep.
And now this is why it really depends on where you are in your career. At the very beginning, it's like you don't really know what you like. You don't really know where to go. So it's like it's hard to set very clear goals. But as you progress, it is important to become aware of what works and what you like, what fulfills you, what gets you excited to go to work, and then start creating goals that align with those things.
Yep.
Which is exactly what you did. You worked all year. It looked, from what you're saying, you worked with clarity, alignment, direction.
Yes.
And a lot of amazing things worked out for you. And I genuinely feel it's because of that. You're working with clarity because that's what happened to me.
Yeah.
As well.
Huge.
Like, can you talk us through that? Like, how did you go about setting those goals at the beginning of the year and like the steps that you took?
Great question. I think for myself, so just to take you back in time, like to 2024, I try to make it, each time it's my birthday or the start of the year, I tend to give myself a theme. I can't remember last year's theme, but I always made it a point in the past 5 years to journal 5 clients I've always wanted to work with, and also just certain elements of myself being self-aware, either in my personal life, my professional life, my health, finances, like the 5 pillars. I always carry that on board. To be real, health is always like, get abs. Like, you know, like,
get shredded.
Green smoothie. Like, you know, it's always generic. But what I've learned from other mentors is that be very, very precise. And that's what I did last year, for example. an example of that when you brought it up before. So last year I was appointed as Sony's newest Sony Advocate last year. And I remember journaling that in the beginning of the year. Didn't think much of it. I was like,
So you actually wrote it down?
I wrote it down.
Wow.
And I was like, I'm going to be a Sony Advocate. And I didn't think that was going to come true anytime soon. I was like, I'm just going to start planting seeds because I had a really good working relationship prior to being an advocate anyway, working with Redscope. We were working closely with Sony for a while. So they also knew and were aware of my strengths, my business moves and everything, running mentorships and community being such a vital importance for me. And so I wrote that down. I was like, this is probably going to come true in 2 to 3 years. I'm okay with that. But I'm just going to say some stuff out there, message some people, and just have no shame. The less shame I had, I was like, the more opportunity I could create.
Totally.
Because if you do not ask, you will not have an answer.
Yes.
It will not come back to you
Very
fulfilled.
good.
So that was my mentality through life, through everything that I do. So from there, I basically was just like saying I'm doing mentorships or like I'm running these community-based events. Didn't really think much of it. And then all of a sudden I get a DM and they're like, hey, have you ever thought about being an advocate? And I was like, yes. Like,
funny you say that.
Funny you say that. Like trying to play it cool.
Yeah.
And they invited me, Sony invited me to HQ. And they were like, hey, we want to run you through being a possible advocate. This is what it looks like. And of course, I'm going to be like, of course. Yeah. I'm going to waste your time. Thanks for the free drink.
This
Great
has been
view.
great.
Just wanted to look around the office, you know. So while I'm on that, there's a difference between a Sony advocate and an ambassador. Advocates, and this is something that's very eye-opening for a lot of people because they're like, oh, you're an advocate, you must get free shit all the time. I'm like, no, we don't. We're more of the educators and the more face-to-face value components of the business. So we run around doing community-based events and everything like that, but we're more of that driven piece of Sony to be like, we really live and breathe this brand, but we also believe in the element of giving back to the Sony consumers and the customers and the hobbyists, which is something that I really believe in because I wouldn't be an advocate if I didn't believe in that. And I know that sounds so like, but I really believe in it. Like when you really think about it, and this was brought up to me 5 to 6 years ago. I sound so old being like, this was brought up to me. Sony's the only brand that has end-to-end of a lifestyle of consumerism. So when you wake up in the morning, you have a Sony speaker, you have a Sony phone, Sony TV, Sony headphones. There's also a candle you can buy that's also a speaker too. Like there's so many elements that Sony's implemented into people's lifestyles that is seamless. And to be able to be a part of that has been something that I'm very grateful for. But when they offered me that final contract of being like, you're an advocate, I didn't know what that was going to take off into because I was the newest person there. And when I wrote it down when I was journaling, I was like, I don't know what I'm in for. I'm like, I'm just going to change my bio. And that's it. And like, cool. But that's when I finally felt the weight of that manifestation coming to life, when I was invited to Kando, which is the big influencer ambassador advocate meeting with Sony Japan, Sony HQ from Australia, New Zealand, and you meet everyone else. And you realize you're probably in that top percentage of a lot of people and what they aim for to be. I don't feel like I'm the best of the best, but the fact that my manifestation and I was able to be recognized in that regard, I don't take it lightly. Again, black sheep of the family, creative, Filipino, Asian, female. I feel very blessed to be in this role. And very happy to know that my manifestation worked. There must have been some alignment in the air.
Of course.
But that wouldn't have happened unless, not saying so woo-woo, that I put it out good energy about it. But it wouldn't have come true if I didn't take a chance and put it out there on my socials.
Totally. Of course.
100%.
Of course. I think, important to have that because it gave you direction. I think like, as you were speaking of, like, so many things were coming to mind, but it is like you wrote it down, but you also took action towards it. Like you said, you started DMing people. And I think that's the important part. It's like taking action towards those goals. And I think what's great, what I believe in the most about manifestation, like I had a vision board. We did a cute little thing with a girlfriend where we had a little vision board, but same thing, all of them came true. But I think it's, when you look at it, you start taking action towards those things.
Yep.
We're like, without the action, nothing happens. You can't just write it down and just hope that it's going to happen. You took steps. You started running, the workshops aligned. You started DMing people. Those actions aligned with what you wrote down, which then led to the opportunities.
Yes, and I think people need to be really, informed about manifestation, because it's such a big woo-woo word, but they don't really realize the elements that come behind it.
Yep.
Action is such a huge one.
Yep.
Like if you didn't do a vision board or something, there's something constantly reminding you there that clarity, alignment, the vision, the purpose, they all have to align per se to make that manifestation work. It's not like, I wish to be a millionaire.
And then you just kick back and watch Netflix.
Well,
and just,
good luck.
any minute now.
I'm jealous of the really 0.001% that have that. God, that would be amazing. But in this day and age, we're not all lucky to be like, I'm a millionaire right there and then. Yeah, it's different.
Exactly, which is important. The other thing that I kind of wanted to speak about when you're talking about being at Kando and being around all these other amazing creatives who are like amazing at what they do, and they're all there for a reason. And you look at you're surrounded by people who are amazing at what they do. They produce incredible work. Not just Kando, but any creative can find themselves in a situation like that. And you can either think one of two ways. You can either look at them and have self-doubt and feel like you don't belong there, which I feel a lot of people do. Not just but in any situation where they are around other creatives. However, I don't know how to do it. I'm asking you.
Okay,
because then there are other people that can also be in that situation or feel as though they did, like, I've worked for this and I deserve to be here.
Yep.
And that they're two completely different people. And it requires a mind shift.
Yes.
And like, how did you feel when you were at Kando? And how would you have that shift in mindset if you were to be, because the more I do this pod, the more I hear people say imposter syndrome, self-doubt, still struggle with it. And I'm like, dude, you're killing it.
Yeah, I know.
And it's like everyone struggles with it, but it's like, how do you shift your mindset to be like, no, man, like I've worked my ass off to be here. Like I belong to be in this room.
Yeah.
And nothing changes. It's just how you perceive yourself in that situation.
Yep.
So, like, how did you feel when you're at Kando, and what advice would you give to someone who feels that, like, self-doubt when they are in a room, when they're around other creatives?
Oh my gosh. I think, one, it's so valid to feel like that. Again, I have those moments too. But there's this quote, oh God, I sound so old again. I'm like, I'm like, here we go. Yeah. Sparks of wisdom. I remember when I was working as an intern, back when I was doing my internship, I had a great CEO, the business called Business Chicks, group of women, empowerment, woo!
Yeah.
They're still around today,
Hell yeah.
fantastic events. The CEO, Emma Isaacs, I remember she spoke to me and she was saying all these things. Again, people are winging it. Doesn't matter where you are.
Yep.
And she said, fake it till you make it. I'm like, and that has stuck with me ever since. Oh my gosh. Why this quote really resonates in this situation, I remember taking a photo from my journal, and because I brought it with me to Kando. And there's a sense of self where, again, I'm not technically the best in what I do, but I do feel I'm the most magnetic. And what I mean about this is energy in terms of just depicting a really powerful presence wherever you are. When I entered into Kando, again, there's so many people there that have millions of followers. You have Tom Nosk, you have all these other people, Jason Robertson.
Yep.
To be honest, I didn't really know who they were.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, I was like...
Probably a good thing.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But this is something where I treat everyone, again, doesn't matter what your role is, I will treat everyone the same as a friend. Like, even if they are the CEO of something, I'll be like, hey, hi. Like,
true.
And that
But
makes
what about,
you
like,
memorable.
say you knew who Tom Noski was or Jason, would there be, like, a sense of intimidation at all?
No.
No? Yeah,
no,
good.
I treated them as one of the boys.
Yeah.
And I actually hung out with them a good portion of Kando. We went out at night and we would go find like something to eat, and everything was closed. Awesome. I remember with even Hayden Peters?
Yes.
Peter Pedersen? Yes. It was me, Jason, and Hayden. And we we would hang out all the time. We had the biggest banter. We became a trio.
Yeah.
And it was just so funny. But I didn't know who they were. I was like, yeah, mad. Like, we would become the backseat bandits.
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
I was just like, yeah, man, like, we got up to the most random shit. Like, it was just so funny.
Yeah.
Now looking back, I'm not saying that made such a big, you know, it would have changed things if I knew who they were.
Yeah.
But I'm like, we're all in this together. We're
Yeah, of
all doing
course.
the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to filter my mindset of you. Not unless it's like a celebrity
Yes.
and I'm like, oh my God, Hugh Jackman. Like, you know?
Yeah.
I like Beyonce.
True. But I think that the more you hang out with people like this, like for you it'd be them. For me, I've worked with like clients who are just like really well, like they're business owners who are doing really, really well.
Yeah.
And it's easy to be intimidated, but the more and more you hang out with people like this, you're like, they're just figuring it out. They're literally just trying to figure things out the same way that you are. And you're like, they're just normal people.
They're just normal people. And I will say that you have to also like just let your confident self come out. And I say this
That's hard
in a nice
easier to
way.
say.
100%. But you put your PR self on. Like, I'm not like, I say your customer service voice or your PR self should come out in these situations. Because if someone is as nervous, if you are nervous, imagine the person on the other side. They're probably more nervous than you.
Yep.
So I'd rather be that sunshine in their light and be like, hi, like, how are you? Blah, 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 blah. Because when you get older, we all struggle, like making a new friend and even just like interacting.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'd rather just be confident because you're there on your own. Like,
Yes.
you can't just wait for someone to be like, hi, have you met XYZ?
Exactly.
Intro.
Yes.
You are valid to be in that room like everyone else. And that is something that you always should be entitled to remember. You're valid in your feelings, you're valid in your position there, and you're also valid in the fact that you can be there and grow.
Yes.
There's no boundary in growth. There's no VIP section to growth.
Totally.
No, like
Yes.
just be you.
Yeah.
I know that sounds so cliche.
No, it's
but
true.
I think for myself, I'm not gonna bullshit my way through things, and that's exactly what happened at Kando. I would just say hi to everyone and be like, I'm gluten free at the buffet.
Yeah, yeah.
They're all getting the normal stuff. I'm like, well, I'm gonna go over here. Like, and they're like, oh, I'm like, and they would play PlayStation.
Yep.
Like, there was a PlayStation section. I'm like, what are you guys playing? I'm so bad at it, but
Yeah.
I'm like, that's cool. Like, you just have a conversation.
Yep.
All humans, and that comes to the same thing as networking events. Thankfully, the generation that's up and coming or current, they're so social.
Good,
Oh
which
my
is
goodness,
good.
so jealous. Like, I know
Yeah.
I'm social, but
Yes.
they literally have a label like no shame, confidence.
Which is great.
It's great.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But for us, I'm like, oh no. Like,
Yeah.
now the table's
Yeah.
reversed.
But I think that's what holds a lot of people back.
Yeah, 100%.
Is not being able to put themselves out there and not being in a place where you don't have shame.
Yeah, but
because
then-
you see people that are doing well, like this person just doesn't care. Like they're just genuinely just putting themselves out there.
But then you know whose fault is that? Is that yourself? That's your own fault.
Yes.
You're blocking yourself.
Yes,
So
exactly.
you can't blame anyone else.
No.
And that's how I think of it.
True.
You just stopped yourself from making this whole other universal multiverse chapter of yourself.
Yeah.
Because you didn't say hi to so and so.
No,
you know?
you're absolutely right.
And that's the way I think of it.
It's a mindset shift that needs to happen
Yes.
because a lot of people hold themselves back for no reason, and I think a lot of it is, I don't know. The more I think about it, the more I think it's like you can't wait for permission. Like you just have to, you have to do it. Like you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that this is something that I've realized over the last year for me. Like I don't need to wait for permission to start this podcast.
No.
I can just do it, and I've just been
Bingo.
doing it. I
100%.
don't need permission to open a photography studio. Like I don't have to wait for someone to say it's okay to do that.
No.
I can just do it. And it's the same as you. Like you're taking action. You're not waiting for permission.
No.
And that's where opportunities come. And a lot of people don't do things because they hold themselves back too much. And it's
Yeah.
like you don't have to wait. If you really want to do something, you just got to do it.
Just got to do it.
Yeah.
100% that. Like, again,
This is what's gotten you into these positions. Like the more you say, the more you tell these stories, the more I'm like, she's just doing the work.
yeah. I want to be able to look back on my life and be like, God, how good was XYZ? How good was Finland? How good was New Zealand, Japan? Like, I wouldn't be able to travel as much as I did without my past self putting myself out there.
Exactly.
You know?
And when it comes to that, like, how big of a role do you think your social presence has been towards everything that you've achieved so far?
I think it's played a huge role.
Yeah.
And that comes down to knowing your branding, which is something I told you, especially if you work as a solopreneur or entrepreneur.
Yep.
Branding is such a big thing, however you present yourself online.
Yes.
Not saying you have to be cookie cutter perfect, but if someone wants to work with you, they want to work with you. If they want to follow you, they want to follow you. And I know it's like a backhanded, like double-edged sword, where, you know, you can share too much, you can share too little. You have full control on how social media, your presence works. A lot of people, unless they're signed with an agency, that's something different. But I feel like you have the control to do whatever you want. Not unless like you're really high up there. But there's no rule book on this. You ask every person that's made it. Someone, I know a friend of mine, she was a successful travel host. Her name was Leanne, and she was my mentor. Then she pivoted in pandemic, and she made over 6 figures in her coaching business.
Wow.
What stopped her? Nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
Like one of my other friends, she was working as a marketing person in this company. And then last year, the year before, she decided in Christmas time, she's like, I'm going to quit. So she resigned. And now she's a successful TikTok person. She's half Filipino, half Albanian, Adelaide. And she's been sent to Albania how many times a year? And she's so famous over there that she's on news panels over there.
Wow. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Like, and you hear, especially nowadays, you hear more and more stories like that.
Yeah.
And it's just people that have decided to show up consistently online. And I lack here in this area heavily. But I want to be more present because I know that by not doing it, you are missing out on opportunities. You know, it's not the end of the world. But by showing up online, you can create opportunities, a ton of opportunities.
100%.
And I think the more I do less of it, the more you notice people that are getting opportunities and you're like, man, like, or they're just showing up and like things are happening. And by not doing that, I guess you're doing a disservice to like your personal brand. Like you can't sit there and be like, I wish I had this opportunity. I can't believe they're doing that if you're not out doing it yourself. And I think a lot of people hold themselves back because they're not showing up online. But it is a lot of work. I understand that it's a hard balancing act.
It's a hard balancing act. Like, I'll be realistic, the past 2 months have taken off. And it's so easy to go back onto social media and be like, oh my gosh, I've lost all these opportunities, I've lost followers, X, Y, Z. But then I told you before, I'm not saving lives.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like they're not going to be like, oh my gosh, like the doctor is here. So, I'm not a doctor. I don't have a PhD in anything. The world will keep churning. And that's okay. But it's also very valid. Same like you, same like me. I feel that I'm like, oh no, I'm missing out. Like that agency is going to work with this person. Oh no, this other person's up and coming. But it's okay. It's okay to also not be okay. But it's also okay to just put a boundary.
Yes.
And that's why I'm coming back.
Yeah, when you're ready, right?
When I'm ready.
Yeah.
100%, and I'm ready.
Yeah, which is great. Like that, but that's the thing. Like you take breaks when you need them, and you shouldn't feel bad or have to apologize to anyone for it.
No.
Yeah.
I'm not sorry.
Yeah. I think it's amazing. So you should, but it takes experience to get to this place where you're at right now, where you're cool with it. Because especially on social media, everyone like stresses out. You hear about it all the time. Like you have to keep showing up. You're going to get left behind. People are going to forget about you.
100%.
It's not like that at all.
It's not. When I took 2 months off, due to personal reasons, like I had people being like, "Are you okay? Where have you gone?" And then I would have to post just a story to be like, hey, I'm just taking due to health reasons and everything, circumstances. I'm just going to take some time off, like be offline for a bit. But even then, I had the most views on that story compared to when I was posting online. I'm like, why does it have to take this for people to notice?
True,
you know, I'm like, you're all on nosy. Like,
you nosy people.
You nosy people. Stalking. It's like, when you think about it, like, you're stalking me again. Like, it's just it's a vanity metric.
Yes.
And that's where I have to remind myself and a lot of other people. People just want to see the highlights.
Yeah.
But I'm also not going to post me being like crying in the shower and just be like, it's been a shit day. Like, you know,
have
like,
to give the people what they want.
Yeah. Just like, oh, just a tea. Oh my God. Speaking of that, I really hate it when people post themselves crying.
Yeah. I think it's just that it takes away the genuineness.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to post like, put a tripod and be like, and cry. Like,
yes.
Like, anyway, I've been watching a lot of TikTok
Yeah.
cases. So.
No, I agree. No, but like, I think, because I've thought about this, there are times where someone crying can hit. And it's like, no, this is true, right? Do you watch the Stephen, Diary of a CEO?
Yes.
Right? There was a period, man, where like every podcast, his guest would cry. He had a way, I don't know what he does, but he had a way of asking questions. He made everyone cry. But when that person cries because of like he's asked a certain question or he's hit a certain, sensitive topic, and that person cries, you feel for this person because it's genuine. Do you know what I mean? It's 100%. Unexpected. Like they've been asked a question, they've been like reflecting and they cry and you're like, oh man, like that's real.
Yeah.
But when someone puts a camera there and then starts crying, you're like, this isn't real.
No.
No. It's not that someone cries in front of camera. It's just that it's the genuineness of it.
Yeah.
When it's not genuine, it hits different.
Oh, 100%. But it's so hard to tell as well what's genuine.
Yeah. Well, if you record and then get in front of the camera and cry,
oh yeah, true. That's
it's very easy to know that.
I feel like that's not genuine.
It's hard to believe that it is genuine.
Unless it's evidence. Like, again, I've been watching a lot of criminal cases and everything. Like,
unless it's evidence.
Yeah. I'm like, don't you do that? Like when you edit? What? Not watch criminal, but like, like when you edit, you have like a show on. I have 2 screens.
Okay, no.
Oh.
But
it's just
whatever
me.
works for you, man.
Like, gotta meet this deadline. Like, the worst things in the world.
Yeah. That's right, bro. I got clients like fucking on my ass, man.
They're on my ass, but here I am like, oh, it's jail time right now.
Gotta get through this series. Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyway. I'm with you though.
Maybe not for that, but like
totally. But yeah, you're right. Showing up online is important. Being genuine and authentic is really important because I think like you're a different person depending on who you're around. So it's hard to be like, who's your real self? Like when I'm around my parents, when I'm around people at work, when I'm around girlfriend, like I'm a different person.
100%.
Which is fine. So I don't think there's like a certain who's my real self. But you need to be comfortable with who you're showing up as online.
Yeah. There's a certain, I wouldn't say persona that I have because I'm coming back to YouTube, like vlogging. I'm going to vlog
Hell
later.
Yeah. I want to as well.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm going to keep myself accountable. It's so hard. Like, I'm not going to go and be like every day and be like, hey guys. It's always that, hey guys, hey everyone.
How hard are those intros,
like, yeah. I'm like, I cannot do that. And you know how people are like, fit checks. I tried that. I'm like, I cannot. I
reckon you can pull out a fit check every now and then.
Just like right now?
I've seen you pull out a few fits at those workshops.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
But when, again, it depends on the atmosphere and who you're with.
Yep.
If I did that in front of my fiance, he's like, oh, live in the present. Like, it's so hard to do.
Yeah, but I think that maybe it's values or even the type of person you like. I've always said, like, even when you're in front of a camera or anything, when someone sees you, they're going to know, like, that's not her.
Yeah.
It's like when they see you and how you present yourself, it's like, that's so Vienna. Like, I've hung out with her and that is so her.
Yeah.
And it's hard to do that because for some reason when we're in front of a camera, we just freak out and we can't be ourselves, and it takes practice. But getting to that place where everything sort of aligns, like you're like, yep, cool, I've met this person 1,000 times and that is exactly who she is.
Yeah.
But that's kind of where you want to be, and I think that's where you get the most out of your online presence. Should align with that as much as possible.
It's interesting because you read again. I don't know these people personally. Like, what's his name? PewDiePie or whatever. Like, I've never met these.
Yep.
I've never met these people. But then obviously they depict themselves to be that true American person. I don't know if they're like that in real life, but it must be such a heavy facade. to just keep carrying, especially when
Yes.
there's a camera constantly in their face 24/7. Like, I just
It's hard because I think because of people trying to figure out like the algorithm, they get very analytical, and a lot of these guys know that if they say a certain thing or if they act a certain way, it's going to improve their numbers. Which, like, I guess if you're treating it as a business, to them it'd be fine.
Yeah.
But you got to know that they're doing, like, you have to understand what they're trying to do. Like, you listen to Mr. Beast talk, and, like, I love everything. Like, when I hear him talk, I'm like, well, everything he says makes sense. But you hear one interview of his, and you know straight away, everything, his videos are so analytical. He knows, if he says these words and he cuts at this time, and, like, everything is very analytical.
Yeah.
So, like, you need to understand what you're getting yourself into. It's like, that's
100%.
very fake.
Yeah. But, like, even, I'll give you an example. I tried to vlog going to Glebe markets, and I did. But even then, whipping out the camera, and maybe that's just the Australian landscape, YouTubers aren't as welcomed.
Yeah.
And not saying I was bullied or anything like that, but it's that self-doubt.
You
can feel it, but it's just still a bit of a weird thing, because as
Yes.
soon as a camera comes onto you, you have to present yourself in a certain way.
Yeah.
The tone changes.
Yes,
Like,
yes,
it's just different. Whereas if you create UGC content, even when people are like, get ready with me, and they're already in bed with makeup, I'm like,
Yeah, totally.
like, girl, you did not just wake up like that. You know?
Of course.
But you see me tomorrow, I'm like,
No, no, it's true. Like, all of that matters. Like, when you're showing up your tone, everything, the way you speak.
everything changes.
Yeah, everything changes. And I noticed that too. I tried to do the same thing. Like, I've been trying to be in front of camera more, and I tried to do I forget what it was. It was more, I was just promoting like a pod or something, and I did it with people in the room, and I tried so hard, and it was so difficult. It's like so difficult.
Yeah.
And when I watched it back, I realized I was whispering. Like, I was like, hey guys. And I was looking, I was like, dude, that's it. Like, there is no confidence in that. And it's because there were people in the room. I just couldn't. So I had to go back and do it again when no one was around.
Yeah.
And just project more and be more myself.
Yeah.
But I know that that's something I need to work on.
Oh, 100%.
You know, and
Same.
it's, I think, when people say, oh, this person's not genuine, it's like, yeah, man, like, give them a break though. They're just starting out. They're freaking out. They're shitting themselves.
Yeah.
It's like, you can't let that throw you off and be like, oh, I'm no good at this.
Yeah.
Because everyone you see who does present themselves well sucked at the beginning too.
Yes.
And they've done enough reps to make themselves feel comfortable and come across as genuine and authentic.
Well, I'll see you on YouTube then.
Yeah.
I'm going to manifest.
I want to be. Totally. But I do think, like, what I want to get to is that, like, there's a ton of opportunities that come from putting yourself out there, right? And it is a skill worth practicing.
Yes.
Because I think there's a ton of opportunities out there that you can get, not just through turning up online. There's a million other ways that I also want to talk about later. But there are times where there are abundance. Like, there are times now where, like, all these followers and attention and opportunities come, and that's great. But there are also times, especially when you start out as a creative, you're very excited. It's like, this is the coolest shit. I found my passion. This is mad.
Yeah.
But then you've done it for like a year or two, and you can no longer, like, be considered a beginner.
Yes.
Right? So you've outgrown the beginner stage, and now you're, like, in this middle bit. Like, you're not really validated yet by the industry, and you've done it too long to be a beginner.
Yep.
And we can talk about abundance as much as we want, because, like, there really is, but there are times in your career where that abundance is gone.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and you put, like, I don't know, I can just imagine you put all your effort into making this social media video, and, like, hours, and it's like 20 views. And then you look at your client calendar, and I had this when I had you as a mentor.
Yeah.
It's like, I've got this job and this job. After that, I have no idea where my next client is coming from.
Yep.
So it's like, I'm doing all this work. Where the fuck is all this abundance? Because I can't see it.
Yeah.
You know? And it's
100%.
like, what advice do you give to someone who's in that stage? It's easy, you know, for someone on the other side that's got all the clients and all the opportunities to be like, yeah, man, just keep going.
Yeah.
But that middle phase is probably the hardest, and it's probably where most people give up, because the excitement's gone away. They're putting all this effort in. They're watching everyone else with all these views and followers, and they're getting nothing. And they're not sure about, like, there's no financial stability. They don't know where the clients are going to come. And it's very, what's the opposite of abundance?
Yeah.
It's that.
That is Again, great question.
Thank you,
Kenny.
thank you.
I love your work. I think, wow, I haven't been asked this question in a while. And it does cross my mind because I haven't been working for 2 months.
Yeah, I feel like the people who do come to your mentorship would be in and around this phase of their career.
Oh, yes.
They're a
Yes.
bit lost and they're like, all right, I want to take this seriously, but I don't know how I'm going to do it, and I need help.
Yeah, 100%.
It's kind of what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah. I completely understand. I think there's a few things that we kind of can get into. So one would be always put yourself out there. I tend to, and you probably notice this, like every 6 months or every quarter or seasonal, I'll always be like, hey, I have upcoming availabilities for bookings. That being, events, conferences, XYZ. These are my bookings. And I always say international and just like interstate.
Yep.
The reason for this is because I don't want to just secure myself here locally.
Yep.
There's so many clients.
Casting a wide net. Yep.
Because you never know who's watching,
True.
And the great thing for me at the moment, I don't niche down. One, because again, I'm an extremes person. I like to put all my hands in all the different cookie jars, and that just makes my life feel brighter. Like every day is not the same, which is a good and bad thing, but I love it.
Yep.
So that's one thing. Always tell your target audience and always use all different platforms to let people know. So LinkedIn, I actually got that Vegas job through LinkedIn.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I need to get on LinkedIn.
Yeah. LinkedIn is a huge one because you just never know.
Yep.
And that's how everyone's like, oh my gosh, how did you get that Vegas job to be flown out there? Paid over thousands of dollars to do that. Accommodation, flights, blah, 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 blah. It was a grueling project, to be honest. Not gonna lie, you're battling jet lag. But I would not have gotten it if I did not post.
Yep.
The thing is, people think of only those social platforms of Instagram, maybe Facebook, or LinkedIn and stuff, whatever you're strong at. Tell your family. Tell your family and friends.
I agree.
Huge one. Because they're also your audience. Let them do the job as well. Tell your family. I tell my family, like, can you guys share this?
Yes.
Bingo, bingo, bingo. Like that also casts another net too. Don't be afraid as well to contact agencies.
Yes.
I made a PDF and everything, contacted all these model agencies, and I was like, hey, I'm a photographer, this is some of my work, I'd love to help shoot, even though it may be TFP or something, but I'm an open photographer and content creator for this.
Yep.
Look at the apps, like I'm on Hash Gifted, which is for UGC content creators, so you technically would be on it. It's like over 10,000 followers that you need. You make content in exchange for product.
Very good.
Easy.
So you're just very proactive.
Very proactive.
With looking.
100%.
For work.
Yeah.
I agree. I'm all for all of that. And I totally agree. Like when there are people that are saying, oh man, I'm struggling to find opportunities.
Yeah.
It's about being proactive. And I always think it's like, dude, your first clients aren't just going to rock up and message you.
No.
You have to be, and your first clients probably aren't even going to be your Instagram followers.
Yeah,
It's probably the gym you train at, the cafe you go to, and like telling people, hey man, like this is what I do and I'm available.
Yeah.
And if no one knows you exist, how are you expected to find work?
I'll tell you an example. So back when I was just finishing up uni, there was a film club called Kino Sydney. I think they're still around. They're in Redfern. And I randomly DM'd them on Facebook. And I was like, oh, I'm a graphic designer. Do you guys need your logo redesigned? And I'm also a photographer. Do you need anyone? They had monthly events. And I was just like, I'm a photographer. Can I take photos of your events? Looking back now, they were really bad photos.
Yeah.
But that's how I got traction from that, the filmmaking community. Because people would go there and be like, oh my God, tag, la, 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 la. People have this notion that in order to get paid work, you have to start off with paid work. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
You have to have that patience and that understanding. You're not going to be paid thousands of dollars in the first thing.
Yes.
Yeah. And you just have to be so mindful of that. Know your value. But if you're just starting out in the first 2 years, you're allowed to take it slow.
Yes.
Not unless you've proven yourself and you got so lucky in XYZ. But you've also got to understand how to quote yourself, the value and the experience that you've had. But if you don't cast that net, no matter what that is, let's say, for example, you want to be, this is so random, but like a school photographer. Did you hit up the schools?
Yep.
Would you do that?
Exactly. And I think the free stuff especially is more important when you have clarity and you know what you want to do.
Yes, bingo. You have to drive that path for yourself.
Yep.
again, it's so confusing in the beginning, and I'm not saying it's easy. Same here. I was like, I'm going to be a female videographer. I still do video and content. Is that my strongest suit? No, because I feel like my bread and butter is photography.
Yep.
But I can still do video because I'm a hybrid.
Yes.
And I'd rather have a hybrid cast a wider net than not at all.
Totally. I saw everything you just said. One of your captions, you were talking about like all the hard things that you'd been through to get to where you are.
Yeah.
Again, great, because you're not afraid to show that side of you on socials. But you talked about what you used to do back then. And one of your captions, you said, I used to email so many agencies, events and festivals so I could shoot for free in exchange for content. All I wanted was to get my name out there and be in the media pit.
Yep.
And then you're like, this is just a reminder to stay humble because the journey never ends. But it's true, right?
It's
like
true.
you knew where you wanted to be, and it's like, I just need to get my name out there, and I know where I want to be. I'm just going to be proactive and let people know until I get to where I want to be.
100%. So an example of that was Australian Fashion Week.
Yes.
I randomly messaged and email Fashion Week, and I was like, hi, I'm a budding photographer.
Mm-hmm.
And people have this notion about Australian Fashion Week that you just can't get into the media pit. No, you can. You just have to pay for a media accreditation.
Yep.
And also street style, that's free. That's outside. But
Yep.
if you really want to get in there, you can pay. Which is totally fine. But backstage, that's different. They're stricter nowadays.
Yeah.
But I remember emailing festivals and everything. I'm like, hi, I would love to get access. I'm a budding photographer. Love to get my images out there. All I ask is to be credited. You know,
Yep.
that's it. Like, you can do it.
Yep.
The worst thing is that they won't email you back. That's fine. But it's better to have 50 cold leads. Remember, I was telling
Yep.
you this, and I told it into students in the mentorship. You could cast out 100 leads and get only 2 back.
Yep.
But it's still
It's all you need, yeah.
It's still a thing, you know.
Yeah, and that gets everything going.
Yeah, 100%.
You never know where those two could lead.
No. A lot of PR agencies do it. A lot of agencies do it now. Now that the rise of inflation's happening, a lot of people are cutting costs with their marketing team.
True.
And getting freelancers. You know.
That's true.
So it's so hard, but you got to start somewhere. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's great. This is good, especially with you being a mentor. You're in a position where like you have to not have to give advice, but you have to be like real with people.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's something that you were with me when I did your mentorship. Like there's a difference. Like it's very, because this is something that I would struggle with, is like being able to tell someone like what they need to hear rather than what they want to hear. And like the first time we spoke, you were like, bro, I see you nowhere on your page.
Yeah.
And you said, we do like a call a week. And you're like, by the next time I see you, I need you to have posted a video like introducing yourself. And I was like, that's not what I wanted to hear the first time I spoke to you.
Yeah.
And I still remember when you said that, I said I would. But in my mind, I was like, I'm just not showing up next week.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck that. I'm not doing this. And I literally, that at the end of that call, I was like, I'm never speaking to Vienna again.
Yeah.
One call, one and done. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And then that whole week was like traumatizing.
Yeah.
Because I was like, why is this so difficult? And why is this messing with my head so much?
Yeah.
But it's like, I'm going to tell you what you need to hear.
Yeah.
Like, you're not showing up. You're not going to get opportunities because no one even knows what you look like, man.
Yes.
And you said it to
Yes.
me, and I was like, days went by, and then my mind started to change. I was like, she's right. Damn it. I've got to do this. And I was like, why is this so hard? It was the worst week of my life.
I know.
And,
I know.
Yeah, and I did it. And I was like so nervous. But a lot of the things, like where I am now, like being comfortable enough in front of the camera is all like, it started from there. Like they were the roots of it.
Yeah.
And it's like you have put yourself in a position where you have to give this like real advice to people.
100%. Because if you're not going to be real with someone, how would they know how to work with you professionally? How do they represent you? I mean, again, there's so much flag happening in this industry and the world. Like,
but it's hard because if I show my work to like my mates, everyone's going to be like, oh, your work's awesome, man. And like just the pat on the back. And it's like, but that's not what I need to hear.
Yeah.
You're just telling me what I want to hear, and that's not helping me.
Yeah.
And I think the benefits of a mentor is like, they're going to tell you what you need to hear.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't see that, you know, and they just hang out with their mates and they're like, yeah, man, my work's dope, because fucking Nick said it was. Who's never picked up
I've
a
got
camera in his
50,000
life.
comments.
Yeah,
It's viral.
look at all the fire emojis, man.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but it's true, because I see people that like the ego boost. They're like, oh, look at my views and look at the comments and stuff. But I'm just like, what has that done for your career? How much money did you make for it? Did you get any clients from it?
Yeah,
Like it's progressed nowhere. I'd rather get less views, but it's connected with someone, or someone's reached out to me for work. Like, I look at those numbers more so than anything else. I'm getting sidetracked.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I get when certain topics get brought up, I'm just damn it, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, you need that advice. You need someone to just be real with you and just tell you those things. And I appreciate, I'm lucky, I feel appreciative that I reached out to you and you were able to help me at a time when I most needed it.
Yeah, of course.
And I'm a big advocate for your mentorship. I hope you're able to kind of bring it back and help people, because I know how much it helped me.
Thank you for being a great student.
Oh, thank you.
And a great person in general.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's good. Like, your strength is obviously like connecting with people. You connect other I met so many creators that I still talk to now through you back then. And obviously that's your strength, and that's what lights you up. It's not hard to notice that.
Oh, thank you.
You know, so I'm an advocate for your workshops, because I've been to them. I'm someone who's been through your mentorships, who's gone to your workshops, and I know that how beneficial it is.
Yeah.
And I couldn't recommend it enough. I hope you do more of it.
Thanks, Kenny.
Yeah, no, it's true. It really is. So yeah, I hope like your plans for this year, is it to just do more of that? What are the Sony workshops looking like?
It's interesting because this year is kind of a bit of a spanner.
Yeah.
And life is filled with that.
Of course.
And it was definitely not what I pictured 2025 to have started off with.
Yep.
But I think just coming back, and maybe this is the universe's way. Again, I just want to point, I'm not so super woo-woo. Like, I'm not, like, my baseline is like, I'm not going to be like crystals. Like, you know, like, I'm like, no, I'm okay. Like, manifestation is good with me. I'm an energy. I'm fine with that. Because I'm scared that people are going to be like, oh my God, she's so woo-woo.
Yeah, she's
so woo-woo.
She lives in Byron, right?
Yeah, she
Surely.
lives in Byron spiritually. Like, you know, I'm like, I'm just in Miracle, guys. Like, chill. So yeah, like, I think for myself this year, honestly, because I'm engaged, like, you know.
Yeah, you got a lot happening, right?
So I'm getting married in November. Having 2 weddings. This is probably giving out so much, but you know, your girl gonna make money. But also,
true, especially with 2 weddings coming up.
This. You know, today's age is really expensive. I'm like, no, I'm on that Shein, Temu, with that marketplace vibe.
Sticking to that budget.
Afterpay.
Yeah, man.
I'm going to keep it real with you.
I know the feeling.
I'm not rich. But I'm manifesting.
Yes.
I'm manifesting visions.
Totally.
But I think for myself, workshops is a big one. Elevating that, because the way I've pivoted myself in the Sony space for advocates is that I'm a very avant-garde fashion.
I've noticed.
Yeah,
very
it's
vibrant,
like very
cool.
vibrant, very colorful, because there's not many people offering that. And you see it a lot in America, but I'm like, oh, I'd love it to be here. So that's kind of what my aim is. Obviously, the mentorship is another thing. I would love to travel a bit more, but your girl's saving, so...
It'd be hard. Your wedding's in Japan though, right? So that's
it's
one
in
to look forward to. That's
I'm
cool.
so excited.
I love Japan.
So yeah, you went to Japan.
Yeah,
so
good.
I can't wait. So we're going there, I think late May, just to check out the venue.
Yep.
And then I'm like, oh, trip. But also like, it's also hard for me to switch off too, because I'm also like, oh, should I do a content trip or something?
I know, right? It's always tempting to...
It's so tempting.
Turn anything into work.
Yeah. And then, like, my fiance is always like, live in the moment. And I'm like, no. So I'll get really good content pieces of him and photos. And I'm like, take photos of me. He's like, no, live in the moment. I'm like, it's like blurry or something. I'm like, okay.
True.
So there's that. And I think it's just more like just staying in my lane. I think I'm in this stage now, not saying, again, I'm the best. I know we touched upon it before. Like, I've got years of experience, but everything is changing. And the want and need for certain niches and certain personalities and technical skills is ever changing too.
Yes.
I know I'm not at the top of my game yet. So that's where I really want to elevate myself. Become a student again. Student in the way of like learning a bit more about lighting, learning certain things to help elevate.
Yep.
Because you can be really, really good at something, but someone out there will be better. Not saying I have to be the best of the best.
Yep.
But I feel like I can always evolve more so.
Of course.
Now that I'm in my 30s and everything. I've got the time, you know. I've got chillness.
I think even being in a position where you're running workshops forces you to learn more as well, or understand things better. Because
Yes.
I've always was of the belief that, you know, like if you can't teach something, you probably don't understand it well enough
Yes,
yet.
100%.
You know, so putting yourself in a role where you are teaching things forces you to have to really understand what you're
Yes.
talking about.
Yes.
Which is a
and
good thing.
It's a great thing,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think for myself, learning on the spot or even just engaging with people of different personalities, either that being beginner, professional, hobbyist, they all have such different quirks and questions.
Yeah.
And I love being able to adapt to that because I think
Because
it's-
you can learn from that too, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Like I'm learning all this like new stuff too. Again,
Yeah.
I'm only in my early 30s. Like I'm talking as if I'm
not
like
that
an old.
man.
I'm in
Yeah.
my 80s. Like people are like, oh, you can do this, you can do this, and you see it in these new updates from Adobe. Like there's so many
Yeah,
different
man.
things
Oh,
now.
bro, the AI stuff.
The AI stuff is crazy, and then like you see. Like, oh, you know, generative fill. I'm
Yep.
like, oh, put a tree in. Like,
Yeah.
like, fantastic.
The other day, they added on generative fill for video.
Yes.
So you can add like
Yeah,
a
you can add
2-second
stuff.
video and it extends the video.
It's
It just creates it out of
crazy.
nothing.
Yeah, and there I am like, oh no, my.
Yeah. But it's true. If you don't learn and stay up to date with those terms, it doesn't matter if you've got 10 years experience, you're going to
Yeah.
get left behind.
You're gonna get left behind.
Yeah.
And it's funny
I'm
because
totally for it.
Oh,
I'm
100%.
excited about it. Some people freak out, but I think it's a good thing. I think it's a really good thing.
it's a great thing. Like, why go against the grain when you can actually learn and adapt to
Yeah.
it? Because where everything's going, that's where you have to be.
Yes.
Otherwise, you get left behind.
Yeah, I think it's going to force us to learn more things.
Yeah.
Because someone's going to have to know how to use the AI thing,
Yeah.
right? So let's say there's a team of like graphic designer, video, photo. The business owner will probably be like, well, I don't need all these guys anymore because AI is going to make the jobs easier.
Yeah.
I could be wrong here, but this is what I think. AI is going to make the jobs easier for these three. So now I don't need all three. Therefore, the one that stays is the one that can do all of them.
Yes.
You know, so it's like expanding your knowledge and learning how to use AI. Because if you then go to the business owner, hey, I know how to use AI. I can do the graphic design, the photo, everything within the
Yeah.
time that I'm here. They're going to want you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
So I think the person that loses out of those three people on that team is the person that didn't embrace AI and didn't expand their skills.
Yes. Oh my gosh, we could talk about this forever.
Is that right? This is what I see
interesting.
happening.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. There's a
Yeah.
lot of different. Oh, I've forgotten what the programs are. There's one where it creates logos and everything
Yeah,
that makes
man.
like 3D renders for you.
Yeah,
Where in
it's
comparison to
wild.
paying someone, animation now, the storyboarding.
Yep.
There's the new one of like stock footage where you just basically type it in,
Mm-hmm.
and it hasn't been released yet. It's not even in its final form. But you see all these summits and conferences about it. I'm like, I'm not scared about it because there'll be certain things that it won't be able to do,
Yep.
like emotional intelligence, physical connection, like being in person. There's certain prompts that maybe it could never do,
Yep.
but that's okay as well. Like you have to be kind of like with video and photo, being a hybrid now is embraced so much nowadays in the past years.
Yes.
Maybe in the next 5-10 years we'll be like how to be an AI artist or something.
Yeah,
like,
of
just-
course.
it's
You got to learn
different.
how to make it easier on your workfloa.
Yeah. So I'm all for it.
I agree, totally.
Yeah.
Damn, when you were talking, I had a thought. Now it's gone. That was a good one too.
Do you need to find it? Do you remember?
Nah.
Do you, like, is it a prompt? Is it AI?
Nah. Yeah, it was something to do with that.
Logo, stock
Possibly,
footage,
possibly.
video, LinkedIn,
Yeah, no, I've gone too far.
conference.
We've gone too far.
Just doing synonyms.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's exciting. I reckon I could talk to you for hours and hours and episodes and episodes. I think
know.
because you've done so much, so like you're so well versed in a lot of
Oh,
these things.
thank
It
you.
came to me. It means that you have to show up online. Like
Yes.
because
Yes.
AI can't be you.
Yes.
You
100%.
know, and like it's more reason to put yourself in front of it, because if you're not putting yourself in front of it and you're only showing your work and then AI can replicate it,
Yeah.
then I think you become replaced. Whereas like no AI can be you. Like
Yeah.
you are Vienna, right?
Yeah,
And there's
you
no
are
there's
Kenny.
no robot that can. So the more you show up and the more people connect to you authentically, right? To
Yeah.
who you are, you can't be replaced.
I think maybe
So it
that
is
will be like decades in the future for our kids.
Maybe.
Yeah. But for
But
now.
for like what's ahead for us.
Yeah.
I think it's important to just be you. And even these conversations here, like I'm asking you something and you're, as a human being, responding rather than...
It feels like a very Black Mirror episode. Have you watched Black Mirror?
I've watched a few, yeah, they're wild.
Scary, man.
They're
I haven't
wild.
watched the latest season. But that's what I'm
watched
scared
the
of.
early ones.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, same. I haven't watched the latest ones. And that's where I'm like, oh, I'm scared already. Like,
It's coming.
It's coming. It's already here.
Yeah, it's already
And
here.
I'm so scared, like, you know, Area 51 or whatever. Like, I'm like, there's stuff there.
Yeah.
Again, that's why I'm on that criminal theory
Bro.
conspiracy.
Bro.
And I'm relaxed.
Yeah.
I'm a very relaxed person.
Same. You can't help but freak out and think of all those wild things. I've been watching Severance.
I haven't watched that yet.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
It's a good one?
Yeah.
Is it stressful?
Yeah, you could say stressful.
Okay, I'll watch it.
But bro.
I'm not saving lives.
Bro. Yeah, we're not saving lives. Anyway. Thanks. Thank you for your time, for making the time to come on.
Of course.
I've loved this. This is great. I've had heaps of guests, but I was like, this is a good one because it's like she was my mentor.
Yeah. No,
and
I
it
had
makes
the
me
best time.
like
We're just
super
hanging.
proud. Yeah.
We're just hanging.
Yeah, and exactly. I was like, dude, especially with the mentorship, I'm like, I've had like hour talks with this girl so many
2-3
times.
hours in person.
Yeah, we've had way too many of these. So I was like, this one's going to be good. It's just going to be another one of those. I've just
Yeah, but just recorded.
Yeah, just recorded. Anyways. Thank you, Vienna. I'm super excited to see what you do this year, especially after last year.
Yeah.
And I keep telling people, I got to go to these workshops, man, these Sony workshops. I've had a lot of these Sony guys on.
I know. You had Nick Fraser as well.
Yeah, man. He was cool. That
He's
guy.
a-
He's got some
funny.
stories.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, that guy, I could have spoken to that guy forever.
Yeah, he's funny.
Yeah.
I love
his
chatting
stories
with him.
are great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're
and I
good
keep saying, I
names.
tell all you guys, I'm like, I got to come to a workshop. I wanted to go to Clyde's one, the coffee one, but it was sold out.
Oh, really? Okay, I'll make one.
Yeah, I'll come to yours.
Yeah, you just have a
You got
coffee
to tell me,
here.
I need to like book in early.
Yeah, they go pretty fast,
Yeah,
especially
man,
those
that
ones
one
where
got
you
me
hang
good.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, I literally was like, I'll just go to Clyde's one, and then I went. It was sold out like a month before it
Yeah.
even. So
Yeah.
I got to go.
Just hangsies.
Yeah, I'll be there.
You should just do one here
I'm at the next one, probably.
at Titan Fit.
It'll do. Oh, I was like, this is pretty small. But sure,
It's just you and one person.
if you have got the idea, I'm down.
Amazing. Well, thank you.
No worries.
Appreciate you.
Thanks, Vienna.